Hey, it's been a great month, and I said this before, and I'll continue to say it. Uh, and one of the amazing things about Alcoholics Anonymous is we are always restocking um, restocking, period. And every generation brings its own leaders. I know we have no leaders, but we have some people who do stand out more than others. And I think that Terry is one of those people who will be standing up and speaking for the next 30 or 40 years. So, God willing, he will. So, Terry, here you go. Thank you so much. Take it away.
Thanks, Howard. Hey guys, my name is Terry. I'm an alcoholic. I was just talking to my wife about retiring from speaking. Uh, she said, "This is what she said. No, you need to keep doing it, even though she doesn't like it that much. Because sometimes it gets in the way with the family time. Um, I don't know. God just uses me in ways that I had no idea. I just don't know. Um, so Terry's not speaking today. God's going to speak through him. And we're going to go to page 56 in this last paragraph, second last paragraph. So this man recounts that he tumbled out of bed to his knees. In a few seconds, he was overwhelmed by a conviction of the presence of God. The presence of God poured over and through him with the certainty and majesty of a great tide of flood. The barriers he had built through the years were swept away. He stood in the presence of infinite power and love. He had stepped from bridge to shore. For the first time, he lived in conscious companionship with his creator. Um, perhaps I've always had a companionship with my creator. I was just never aware of it. Today I woke up. I woke up here. Thank God I woke up. Um, I know I left you guys with a cliffhanger the last time. That word overwhelmed hit me, and then I'm thinking about page 8, where it says, go to page 8. It says, I had met my match. I had been overwhelmed. Alcohol is my master. Today, alcohol is no longer my master. I've been overwhelmed by the power greater than myself that is within me, that has burst out of me and is living in and through me as a way of life. This power has been integrated into every five senses, sight, touch, smell, hearing, all that stuff. It has changed my glasses, and I don't wear glasses. Actually, I'm going kind of blind on my right eye. I just found out the other day when I took a medical, but I still see through the glasses of God today. But thank God for God. Thank God I'm wrapped nestly in that God blanket that Monica talks about. I'm safe and protected. Um, I don't do the steps today to stay sober. I do the steps because I'm sober. I do the steps so that I could have this conscious companionship and awareness with this power deep down within me. And I left you guys at when I was at the and rehab, and I was 5 days sober and I wanted to go home, and this I'm thinking I'm going back, I'm journeying back to that day. And actually my mom gave me a journal that I wrote out while I was in that rehab, and it says the exact date that it happened on June 7th. I got sober on June 1st, so 7 days into rehab, and I was ready to go home, feeling better and need to go home. And there's just I'm looking back at it, how much there's so much resistance, there's so much pain and turmoil prior to a vital, powerful spiritual experience. that's been my journey. God's impact on me was sudden and profound many times. And this was one of them. Didn't happen on step 5 or step 9 and 12. It happened here. Prior to me being introduced to the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. So I remember I called my mom. I said, "Hey, can I come home?" And she said, "No, you need to stay there. You're safe and protected." You know, when the mind is so powerful, it's so loud in the beginning. Those days and those weeks and those few months, that the first few months that you're sober, it screams sometimes to the point where you can't sleep. I hardly slept my first 60, 90 days. And I was listening to a story in my head that I should go home. I have great AA at home, and that I'm safe and I could take care of myself because I have 7 days sober. This is what I this is what I was telling myself, you know. And my mom, she doesn't generally get angry, but she got angry and she said no. Not in those exact words. She said it pretty loud and fierce, but she said, "No, you need to stay there. You're safe and protected." And I remember being on the phone with her and looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm looking back. I just have a picture of it in my head where I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and I said, "You know what, Mom? I just want to come home and drink." And I remember telling her, "You know what? I'll stay here until for the remaining days because I was going to spend my I think it was my 33rd birthday in this rehab, and it was June 30th. So I entered there on June 1st. So the day after June 1st, I was going to leave, or July 1st, I was going to leave. And I didn't want to spend my birthday, my 5 birthdays in rehab, you know, I wanted out. And I told her that I would stay for my birthday. And then after the phone call, I got on my knees and I abandoned myself utterly to this power like Mayo did. Um, in a few seconds, just like it says in this text, I was overwhelmed. You know, Bill was overwhelmed. That meant powerless. Um, I was overwhelmed by this power in that moment. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it or reflecting on it. I don't know if there was smoke in the air. I don't know if there was clouds in the air. I don't know. I just feel super warm inside, and my skin got warm. I remember that. I remember sitting in the corner of of this room that I was in the rehab and just being like, "What the hell just happened? What the hell just happened?" And when I look back at that period in my life, especially that moment, was that I finally got honest with my mom. I finally like I don't have the ability to be honest. I don't have the ability to produce it or self-will it. That's I guess you could say it, it, it's grace. I mean, it was just a divine intervention. Um, that's what happened to me. And when I have all those defects of character, you could say, or dishonesty that are blocking me from this power, and I finally let go absolutely. Everything that I thought I knew, everything I felt in the past, all the social interactions I've had in the past, all the periods in my life that I think I know how to respond to or competitively respond to or etc. You know, I mean, I let it all go. I don't know what to do any here. I need a power grid in myself. I'm gonna be honest because I'm tired. And then I don't know about you. In the beginning of recovery, whenever I got honest, it felt like I get like clinched. I'm like I don't want to be honest. It was like it feels super uncomfortable. And if you're new here, lean into that uncomfortability. I know it's painful. That's what I just said. It's painful. But there was a release that happened. It says on page 55, it says, yet we've seen another kind of flight, a spiritual liberation from this world. People who rose above their problems. They said God made these things possible, but we like to tell ourselves it wasn't true. We have seen spiritual release, not outside coming in, inside coming out. And that release happened in that moment. I remember I'm walking around this rehab telling people I found God. Yeah, who's this guy? Like, this is a mindfulness rehab, so it's none of that. This is like what are they? It was like a Buddha recovery, smart recovery stuff. That stuff, right? Using your mind to get sober. Uh, I don't know. The organ that brought me here is not the same organ that's keep me sober, right? My brain was pretty outright mental defective. And I mean, I mentioned page 14, and I'll read it. You know, there was a sense of victory. It was like a shock to me, right? And on 56, it poured over me. That's how it felt. It felt like like I was taking the best shower of my life. And I can't describe it. I mean, just super warm. It was comforting. It was love. It was just like Monica's God blanket. It was just super fuzzy. What else is saying? The barriers that I built up through the years were swept away. They talk about 6 barriers in We Agnostics, right? One of them is what is it? Unreasoning prejudice. I'm just gonna fight you to fight you. That's gone. I let that go. Being obstinate, right? Me being stubborn. You tell me to go left, I go right. I let that go prior to that. What else did it say? Let me forget. What's the other one? Sensitiveness, right? I was touchy, You say boo, I cry. I let that one go. My old ideas, my fixed ideas, these traditions that I lived by my entire life, I let go. Absolutely, in that moment, they were swept away, and I was in the presence of infinite power and love. And how true that was. I mean, I'll go back to 14 for a second. It says, followed by such peace and serenity, like, I remember I slept that night. I remember that. I remember that I could breathe normally that night. I was always an anxiety kind of cat, a panic kind of cat, right? I mean, man, I had restless leg syndrome 7 days ago, and it's gone. Like, what the hell happened to me? Like, what the hell? I mean, this is an event in my life that was tattooed to my soul. It has literally been tattooed to my soul. You can't, there's no laser treatment to knock it out. Like, if you came up to me and Howard's like, hey man, here's $1 billion, stop doing AA. Please stop coming to my Sunday 5 o'clock meet. Please stop coming to my study on Sunday. Please stop practicing 12 steps as a way of life. Please stop helping others. And here's $1 billion cash money, yo. Here's $1 billion. And I'll go back to that moment on June 7th. I have an exact date. I wrote it down. It says like I wrote down I crossed some type of line I can't explain. That's what I wrote. I don't know what happened. That's what I wrote. I can't believe my mom found it and she read it. What was that? There was utter confidence. I felt lifted up as though a great clean wind blew through and through. God comes to most men gradually, but his impact on me was sudden and profound. It was so profound that I would say no to $1 billion. It's so profound that if you came to me and gave me every single desire that I ever wanted, I would say no. If you told me to stop doing this way of life, I can't teach that to a newcomer. I can't teach that to anyone. That's an experience. Step 2 is an experiential step. It's something you can't take. I remember I remember someone guy I was helping a kid. He's like, I'm working step 2. I'm like, how the hell are you doing that? You know, please explain to me. I'd love to know. He started talking about blah 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 blah. I'm like, do you believe there's a power greater than yourself? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. Are you even willing to believe? He's like, I just said I believe. I'm like, well, congratulations, you just completed step 2. Pew 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 pew. Like, I believe, I felt, I've seen this presence in my life, and it has carried me to right now. Another time that happened to me, this was after the steps. I had a job interview. I was a Drive for Success was on kind of cat. You know, when you go through inventory using the third column and using extended third column, I highly recommend it. If you don't know how to go through inventory process with an extended third column, give me a buzz. I'll help you out. And it showed me these belief systems and these old ideas, like I need money to live, or I need a desk job in order to be okay. You know, those a belief system that's integrated into my ego or myself or whatever you could say, and that I took on from parental from my parents. I took that on. That was an idea that I thought that was the way to live. And if you weren't someone who was successful or made money or blah blah blah, you were considered scum. So whenever I didn't get what I wanted, like work or a good job, I told myself I was a scumbag. Imagine going through life going like that, and there's a lot of people out there like that. A lot of people that are still walking around dreaming that they're awake, that they're totally asleep, and they're, what is it called? They're living their life by self-propulsion. That's what our book talks about, right? Thank God I woke up today. Thank God I have this companionship with my creator that now I'm awake to it. Now I remember I had a job interview and I forgot what job it was. Pretty funny. I mean, I went from so many different interviews and so many different jobs, trying to find my dream job, you could say. And because I thought that's what I needed to be in order to live, in order to be okay, which was a lie, which was a story and a narrative in my head that would be talking to me all the time, you know. So, and they didn't call me back. I mean, I did the interview and they didn't call me back. And Paul, it was 2 days, man. Yo, where's my phone call at? Right? Like, yo, where's my phone call at? Right? There we go. Immense pain, immense turmoil. I'm actually in the exact spot where I was in pain. I'm walking back and forth right here. Right? My bed's right there. What else am I going to do? I called up my sponsor, and my sponsor's like, "Did you pray about it?" I'm like, "I didn't pray about it. I called you. You're the guru. You're the man. Tell me what to do." That's what I said. He's like, "You just need to pray about it." I'm like, "You SOB." I can abbreviate words, right? You SOB. You son of a gun. Right? There was so much immense pain right before real surrender. A real surrender. I mean, Howard probably is better with the historical facts than I am, but if you read Dr. Bob and the good old timers, man, you weren't even allowed into an AA meeting unless you got down on your knees, admitted you were an alcoholic, admitted that you need a higher power in your life, and you abandoned yourself utterly to a God greater than yourself in front of what, 2, 3, 4 people, and those 2, 3, 4 people were like, you know, they look around afterwards like, yeah, that was a real surrender. He's allowed into the meeting. You know, no wonder why they had 75% success rate back then. Sheesh. And things were a little bit uh to the point back then, right? More transparent. No little flip fluff, no little want to blow, you know, give you flowers and say congratulations for not drinking today. None of that stuff. This is life or death. Do you want this? Yeah. I don't know where else to go. I've tried every other avenue. but I never tried getting down on my knee. You know, I was told when you do, this is from my sponsor in Minnesota, and he would say, Terry, if you got on your knees and you try to fight me, like, would it be kind of tough to fight like this on your knees? So like, that's true, yeah. It's much more difficult to fight when you're bending down on your knees. And it says in our text, where's it at? It's coming up in the next couple of pages. There's an invisible line in the big book, and there's a lot of invisible lines in the big book, and this was an invisible line for me. It's on page 63. It's right below our third step prayer, and our third step prayer is a confirmation and affirmation of our decision, which is on 62. And it says this is super invisible. Just after the third step prayer, I remember the first time I said this, I kept reading this paragraph after not stopping after the quotations of the prayer. And it says, we thought well. Think about that. I'm going to think well before taking this step, making sure I am ready, that I could at last abandon myself utterly, which means completely, to God. That missed me. That was an invisible line to me. Guys, those are some strong, strong words. Strong, strong words. I missed that. I was in this very moment right here, and I thought, well, before I could at last abandon myself utterly to God. Everything I think I know about myself, and everything I think I know about my ideas, and I laid it all out there for God. And I got on my knees and I abandoned myself utterly to Him, and I answered prayer. Guys, I had no idea that God has a 24/7 hotline. You could call Him anytime. I'm going to say that for any newcomers that are here. What book did I steal that from? Stole that from, Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Talks about that. God had a 24/7 hotline. You can call Him anytime. And it says on, what is it, 58? It says, remember that we deal with alcohol. We could all say this together. I did this at a conference one time. We all said it together. It was so bad. Remember, we deal with alcohol, cunning, baffling, and powerful. Without help, it is too much for us. But there is one who has all power. So if this one has all power, Bill S., how much power do I have? Sounds like zero, right? And that one is your sponsor. You should call him now. No, it doesn't say that. I thought it said that. It says there's one who has all power. That one's Bill S. You should call him now. No, it doesn't say that. There's one who has all power. That one's Stan from Park City. You should call him now. No, don't say that. There's one who has all power. That one's Rob in the UK. You should call him now. No, don't say that. There's one who has all power. That one's Howard and Kathy. You should call them now. No, it does not say that. There's one who has all power. That one's Linda. While she's driving, you should call her now. No, it does not say that. There is one who has all power. That one's God. May you find Him now. That's actually an instruction. Now is a time frame, right? We read how it works all the time, but we actually don't see that these are actually instructions. You know, the first prayer of the book is right below that. We ask for God's protection and care with complete abandon. Take that prayer and make that a way of life. Say that prayer in the morning, afternoon, and all throughout the day. And then you'll start noticing that you start to become this prayer. You start to live a surrendered life from day to moment basis. And I got up from my knees and I finally made that decision that hereafter in this drama of life, that God was going to be my director. I was going to be His actor. That He was going to be my principal and I was going to be His actor. That He was going to be the all-powerful, what does it say, employer, and I was going to be His employee. And that He was going to be my father and I'm going to be His child. I finally made that decision. You know, like step 3 is just a decision, but yeah, it's a little bit more than that. My whole life is based on that decision that I finally made with absolute certainty, Was this, go back to 56. Where does it say 56? Infinite power and love, this conscious companionship with God. I finally made that decision to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. With, keyword is with. That means there's participation from me. It's a unionship. It's a oneness with this power. It's a journey with this power. It's a friendship. I love what Bill says, my newfound friend. Hell yeah. How cool is that? Take all the spiritual terms in this book and lay aside prejudice and honestly ask yourself what these spiritual terms mean to you. And newfound friend, as I love that. Because he's new. He surprises me every single day. God surprised me, and there it is. God is communicating with me through whatever it is in my way. God is everything. I mean, look, Christmas is coming up, guys. Christmas is coming up. I got Black Friday coming up, Howard. Oh my God, I didn't even look at the time. How much time do I have, buddy? See, now you got me rolling up now. I'm heating up. Tell me how much time I have.
Well, take another 2 or 3 minutes.
Perfect.
Okay.
Christmas is coming up. Black Friday is coming up. I want some presents. I want some presents. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna dip into my self-will toolkit, which is found on page 61 of our big book, and I'm gonna dip into my self-will toolkit of kindness and being generous and being modest and being self-sacrificing to try and get what I want. I want to be on Santa's nice list. I want presents from Santa, but I don't do that. And what about me being mean, egotistical, and dishonest and being on the naughty list? I don't do that either. I don't do either of those today. I'm just that happy, joyous, and free elf, man. You know what I'm saying? Santa's little happy helper. I'm just happy, joyous, and free elf, carrying out God's will with no strings attached. I said this earlier in previous talks. The greatest thing that I could give to someone is my time. And when I'm hanging out in the right here, the right now, in God's country, I'm giving away my time for fun and for free. And guys, this has been a fun, fun, fun month for me. Thank you for inviting me here, Howard. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. Who else is on here? Serene, for your service. Andy F. You know I love you, buddy. Thank you for your service. All the loved ones out there. Bill S. I love you, dude. I see you, Trey. What's up, buddy? Stan, I can't believe you flew all the way from Park City to come hear me speak 1,000 times. I don't know if I'm surprised you don't get bored of my talks. All I do is talk about alcohol and God. It's the same two boring things, right? You know, Paul M, you're like a little groupie of mine, man. I can't wait for you to speak again because I'm your groupie, man. This is a pep rally here. This is a pep rally for God, man. We show up for each other. We get enthused for each other. Rob, I see you, Rob. What's up, man? From the UK. I love you, bro. Who else is on here? Yeah, shout out. Monica, you know I love you. I had to mention your God blanket. Rach, what's up with those hearts, man? I don't know where you're at in space right now. Dina, you know I love you. Big Book Slayer, man. She tears that book up, man. You guys need a sponsor, go to her. Charlotte, oh my goodness, man. We've been on this trudging this journey. Thank God we're here. Thank God. That smile it makes me smile. Thank you for when I look at every single one of the faces on here, I see the face of God. I see expressions of God's will on each one of these Hollywood squares. Thank you. Thank you. My name is Terry. I'm a recovered alcoholic. And last but not least, pew, 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 pew.